Tell Us About Yourself is sponsored by bonusround.ca, streaming Canada's classic game shows on demand. Dive into the golden age of television with thousands of episodes of Canadian series that defined an era from anywhere in the world, all for just $1.99 a month. From iconic shows like Let's Make a Deal and Definition to cult classics like Bumper Stumpers and The Mad Dash, bonusround.ca brings you timeless entertainment that's fun, enlightening, and affordable. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, relive the magic of Canadian television history. Subscribe now at bonusround.ca for $1.99 and turn every night into game show night. And by The Inn at Leola Village. Nestled in the heart of picturesque Pennsylvania, the Inn at Leola Village is a sanctuary of luxury and relaxation. Indulge in the timeless beauty of their historic suites, each meticulously designed to transport you to a bygone era of elegance and grace. Experience the culinary delights of their award-winning Italian restaurant, where every dish is a masterpiece crafted from the finest local ingredients. From romantic getaways to corporate retreats, the Inn at Leola Village offers a haven for every occasion. Unwind at the spa, stroll through the lush gardens, and let the stress of everyday life melt away. Make your reservation today at theinnatleolavillage.com or call the front desk at area code 717-656-7002. The Inn at Leola Village, an oasis of luxury. Tell Us About Yourself, Conversations with Game Show Contestants is produced in partnership with the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York, one of the largest history museums in the United States and one of the leading museums serving families with highly interactive exhibits and programs. Since 1968, the Strong Museum has been dedicated to exploring the ways in which play encourages learning, creativity, and discovery, and how it illuminates cultural history. And their National Archives of Game Show History. Founded by industry veterans Bob Bowden and Howard Blumenthal, the archive is home to thousands of artifacts representing over 80 years of broadcasting, including props, set designs, video interviews with game show professionals, and other iconic elements from the history of television at play. For more information about the National Archives of Game Show History or the Strong National Museum of Play, visit museumofplay.org or call area code 585-263-2700.
Blue 35.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Oh, okay. Okay.
William,
Yes.
how are you doing today?
Oh, great. Thank you.
You
Great
doing
to see
great?
You. Great to see you guys.
Well, thank you. It's great for us to be seen by you.
Yeah.
I like that, Paula.
William, why are you here?
I'm here to sing to America.
Tell us about yourself, would you?
Tell us something about you.
For any new viewers, won't you tell us again about yourself?
We've met before, but let's meet again. Tell us about yourself.
What else can you tell us about yourself?
Perhaps you'd fill us in again and tell us about yourself.
My name is William Hung. I'm living in Las Vegas right now. I'm originally from Hong Kong, and I am an entertainer and speaker. I auditioned for American Idol back in 2004. I did not make it to Hollywood. My expectation was that I would go home and nothing else would happen, but who knew that I would suddenly become famous all over the world.
William, I usually start by asking the people who talk to me on this show what role game shows played in their life growing up before they got a chance to be on one. Now, I know you spent the first years of your life in Hong Kong, and I wonder if that type of television is something that was available to you when you were younger. Do you remember that kind of TV, game shows, competition, talent shows? Was any of that important to you growing up?
Well, it was relatively new when I got on the reality show. I did not see too many other reality shows in Hong Kong. So it was definitely a new experience.
And so talent shows or anything of that nature wasn't something that was present in your life when you were younger?
No.
So if you don't mind me asking, what inspired you to want to become an entertainer? Were there people that you wanted to emulate, or was there something else?
I wanted to try something different from my civil engineering studies at UC Berkeley because I wasn't doing so well in school. I wasn't too passionate about the subject. So I thought that maybe I could try something totally different. Then one day I saw this poster for a school talent show. I thought I had nothing to lose. And who knew? I won. I won a DVD player. That gave me the confidence to audition for American Idol.
Oh, how wonderful. What did you do in this talent show? What was your talent?
I was singing
And do you remember the song?
She Bangs by Ricky Martin.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Because that was going to be one of my questions as well. What led you to pick She Bangs? It's a great song, and it's a great, it's very catchy and it's very energetic. Was that why you chose that song? Did you have other songs prepared, or was it that song from the jump?
I was going with that song all the way because it was something different and unique because it was not the typical pop music.
No, that's true. It was very Latin influenced. We're sort of coming out of the era of the Latin invasion, Ricky Martin and Mark Anthony and all of these Latin singers who have become really, really popular in the early 2000s.
Yes.
I wonder if you could tell me what role music played in your younger life. Were there people around the house that would sing? Were there singers that you looked up to? How important was music to you as a child, as a young adult?
My parents love karaoke, and that's why I also learned to sing some pop songs with them.
Karaoke is very popular in China, isn't it? In Asia in general, but it's much more popular there than it is in America. Would I be correct in saying that?
I'm not sure, but yeah, it was very popular for sure in Asia.
Right. And so the opportunity to perform on American Idol must have spoken to you immediately. Tell me how you found out about that experience. How did that experience materialize for you?
Well, I saw on the news that American Idol auditions would come to San Francisco. It was near where I studied at Berkeley, so I thought it was convenient to give it a try.
Sure. Oh, it's right next door. And I know that these auditions used to be packed, with thousands of people looking to audition and make it to the next round and make it to Hollywood. That was the dream of every prospective American Idol contestant. How intimidated were you heading into that audition, knowing that there are so many people around you that are competing for that same goal?
I'm not too worried because I didn't have any expectations for making it to Hollywood. I just thought I'd try and see what happens. If I make it to Hollywood, I'm very lucky. That's okay. We'll see what happens.
Sure. Well, that's a great point of view. I've talked to dozens of contestants on this show that have been on so many different types of reality and game shows. And one of the ideas that comes up a lot is, when you make it on the show, when you're on TV, that in and of itself is a prize because there are so many people that are competing not only for the prize at the end of the show, but just to get on the show. I mean, thousands of people audition, but it's only a few that make it to television. There's only a few that, that get aired on the show. And you were one of those. So yes. I just think that that's such a great way of looking at the opportunity. I mean, once you once you make it on the show, that's a win right there. And even if you walk away with nothing, you can say that you made it there. It's just such a positive outlook.
Yeah, well, the truth is, even if I make it on the show, I still don't expect anything, because most people auditions, for that were like mine. I didn't make it to Hollywood. I'm not a naturally talented singer. It's people may laugh at it, and then that's it. They move on. But for my case, people did not move on.
It's interesting that you mentioned that you're not a classically talented singer. You're not a naturally talented singer. And I want to get back to this idea in a minute, but let's talk about the audition itself. What do you think, other than your talent for singing in public, whether you have a good voice or not, other than your talent, for entertaining, what do you think made you stand apart from everyone else that didn't have their audition televised? Why do you think they picked you to be on that episode? Apart from the song and apart from anyone might say about the performance itself, what was it about you that made you stand out?
Well, I decided to stay positive no matter what. And I noticed that many people who don't make it to Hollywood, they would get angry and upset. Some may throw water bottle at Simon Cowell, others may cuss at him. But I feel that I don't need to do that. Because I don't take it personally. I just think they are doing their jobs.
That's so interesting, because I feel like with that mindset, you're set up for that type of journey. You're set up for the journey of somebody who becomes sort of accidentally famous, because you're not expecting anything. You're not getting on the show with the expectation that you'll win or that you'll become a movie star or that you'll, become famous. You're going for the experience. And so I feel like, and I wonder if you agree with that. Do you think that mindset helped you cope with this sudden rush of fame that you got after your audition?
Yeah, because it allows me to stay more humble and optimistic no matter what happens in the future. I like, how do I say it? Even if I don't have the same level of fame as before, now I'm okay with it. It's not a big deal to me.
And so let's talk about the audition itself. Tell me what you remember about that experience. I know you waited in line for a long time because, again, there are so many people auditioning. What do you remember about that moment when you walked into the audition and did your thing for the judges?
I remember I was very nervous. That's why my dance movements looked like I was doing some butt exercise in the gym. Not my proudest moment.
And you didn't practice any of the physicality. That's just something that happened naturally. Am I correct?
Yeah.
It's so funny what nerves and excitement make people do when they're on TV. I mean, I've talked to people who have fainted on TV when they win something. I've talked to people who, just completely black out. I myself, I won a sofa when I was 18 years old, and I freaked out in a way that I've never freaked out since. And so it's just so interesting what that, what that pressure does, right? It's almost something that you can rely on. I feel like when a good entertainer is in front of a camera or in front of an audience, they will naturally perform better because that excitement of being in front of people is contagious, and you can almost use it as a source of fuel, right? Like it's really energizing to be in front of a crowd, whether it's 3 people or 1,000 people.
Yes.
The audition, I mean, is legendary at this point. And, you auditioned in 2004. This is before YouTube. This is before viral videos, before any of the technological advances that we have that has made it really easy for a video clip to be spread around the world instantly. To find out about this, you had to be one of the people watching the show, or you heard about it from your friends who watched the show the next day. And it just, to me, speaks to how popular American Idol was in 2004. I mean, it was, at that point, the biggest show on television, not even just reality show, just the biggest show on TV. Did you have any sense of that as, when you went to the audition?
Yes, I knew it was a big show.
And I'm amazed that that idea wasn't intimidating. I mean, a positive mindset, I feel, can be so strong. And it's so interesting to me that you never thought about that part of it. I mean, you were nervous the way a human would be nervous, but to keep that positive mindset in spite of all that pressure, I think is very admirable.
Thank you.
And I remember being specifically inspired by what you said at the end of the audition.
You can't sing, you can't dance. So what do you want me to say?
I already gave my best, and I have no regrets at all.
Good for you.
That's good.
That's
Now that's
excellent,
good. That's
William.
good.
That's the best attitude.
It added a very human side to you, and I was glad that they left it in, and I was glad that that was something that you said. It was very inspiring to see, again, just see somebody try their best.
Thank you.
So tell me about what happened after the audition. Tell me about how you felt. Did you have any clue that this would become as big as it was?
No, of course not.
So there was nothing about your performance that you thought, this is going to stand out. This is going to be, this is going to be something special. I mean, did you know that they were going to televise it? When did you find that out?
I only found out 1 week before. So no, I didn't.
Wow, only a week before it was on.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And so the audition is televised. Millions of people see it. Is this a situation where you become a celebrity overnight? How long did it take until people started finding you and asking you about the audition? And how long did it take you to become famous after this audition aired?
It was like overnight. Like next day, I go back to school. People are asking me for pictures and autographs. It was crazy.
Wow. And as somebody who didn't have a whole lot of experience in entertainment or singing or fame, how did you handle those feelings? How did you handle that sudden rush of celebrity?
I wasn't sure. I mean, I try to be nice to people as much as I can. I try not to take the negative criticism personally. Some people like me, some people didn't. But I feel like I need to be respectful and kind to people, and that's how I've been.
And that comes across in all of your appearances for sure. You seem like a genuinely nice human being, and I think that works to your advantage. I think that plays to your character, and it's great to see. I'm so interested in that part of it because as somebody who has had dreams of becoming famous for being on TV, famous for broadcasting, I have always thought it would be the most difficult part to deal with the people who don't like you. They always say, if you're in a YouTube video that becomes really popular, don't read the comments. Don't read what the public has to say because it will color your opinion of yourself and make you dislike yourself. Do you have any insight into how you were able to mentally and emotionally cope with the fact that people out there who you've never met might seriously hate you? How do you deal with that?
I don't worry about it too much, because it's no point. Of course, I need to be careful. I need to take precautions. So not everybody would be nice guy or nice girl. I understand, but overall, I can't worry too much. I just need to be do what I need to do and be my best self.
Is there an element of faith that plays into that on your end? Are you the kind of person that considers opportunities like this to be in the control of somebody or something greater than yourself?
I don't mind putting it out there. I am Christian. So yes, I do believe in God, but I didn't grow up with God, so that's not the main factor. It does help reinforce my beliefs when things are not, going the way I expect. Maybe someone was mean and vicious or whatever, right? There are or people make them like very like terrible comments, like saying I portray Asian stereotypes, or I committed suicide or heroin suicide back in the early days. Now that's not true, but there are people who do that. It's like, what? but I let it go. I just let people know that's not true, and that's it.
That's such a great point to make as well, because there was that other side of it. There were thousands of words that were spoken and written about William Hung and his audition and his fame, his subsequent fame, and him singing She Bangs on American Idol and singing She Bangs on other shows and becoming famous for that. And some people have said that it was racism or it was anti-Asian sentiment that informed the public's fascination with you. Was there a point in your music career where you felt like people were laughing at you as opposed to with you? Did you feel that at any particular point?
The truth is I don't care, because yes, I'm aware that there are people who laugh at me, but the people that laugh at me, some people are still my fans, some people are not. I don't have control over that. I only have control over how I treat my fans. I want to continue to do what I can to please my fans.
And as somebody who has been in entertainment for on and off 2 decades at this point, how do you please your fans? What do you do that ensures that a fan of William Hung stays a fan of William Hung? Is it just about being nice, or is there more to it than that?
I think that it's about maintaining a good reputation. So I try not to make promises I cannot keep. I think that's a very important lesson that I learned. Like a good example is how I talk about overcoming my gambling addiction. So when I told people about that topic, I don't say that I never gamble again, because that's not true. I still play poker sometimes, play mobile games sometimes, whatever. But I'm not going to lose my house or lose my retirement over that.
Sure, it's something that you control rather than let it control you.
Exactly.
I read recently that you were undergoing treatment, or that you were sort of recovering from this gambling addiction. And first of all, I give you so much respect, because addiction is something that I'm fortunate enough to not have personal experience with, firsthand.
Oh.
But there are so many people around me who fall victim to so many different forms of addiction. And I know how difficult it can be to break that cycle, and how difficult it can be to have that discipline and change those behaviors. So I'm very proud of you for making that journey for yourself.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I read that when I Googled your name, and one of the first things to come up was an article about how you had sort of detailed how your gambling addiction had affected you and affected your personal life. Is there ever a point where you become comfortable with having personal details like that about yourself put out there? Are you comfortable with that? Or how do you get to the point where you are comfortable with that dynamic?
That's a good question. The way I manage that is that I need time to process the story, the experience myself first. That's why I didn't put out, share the experience right away. I went through the Gambling Anonymous and other programs, make sure that I'm speaking with the right mindset. Like I told you, like I told everybody else, I don't promise that I never gamble, because even when I going through a treatment, it's supposed to be never gamble again. But for me, that's not realistic. because I live in Las Vegas. There are events in Las Vegas all the time, right? I have to see my friends and my family there sometimes, so it's not realistic.
Sure. And I think among certain cultures, gambling is a more social activity. So it is probably difficult to break yourself from it completely. But I imagine it's also healthy for you to know your limits, or at least know that there should be a limit.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I stand. And then other life issues philosophy is similar. You know, when I reflecting on the words I said on American Idol, I try my best. I have no regrets. That's a life philosophy. You know, I got that from my mom when I was growing up. So it wasn't some smart phrase that I came up with at the moment. No.
Was your mom able to see you on American Idol? Was she present to witness that whole adventure?
She did see it, but I actually didn't tell her, because if I told her I would go audition, she would always say no, because she knows that I don't have the natural talent. So yeah, it was something that I did myself. I thought nothing would happen, but who knew that like I would suddenly become famous.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's the American dream. You know, people in this country love to fantasize about themselves becoming movie stars, becoming famous singers, doing that whole thing, being part of that world. And so you lived that dream. And for a Chinese immigrant to live the American dream, again, is just so inspiring. But I also imagine, because of where we live, there were people who took offense to that. I wonder if you received any of that, on your journey. Were there any people that were able to tell you or let you know personally that they didn't feel like you deserved this, or that, you can't sing, why are you famous? Like, did any of that happen to you?
Well, yeah, of course, but I mean, unfortunately, I didn't come from my family and friends. But of course, there are people who say that or believe that. But like I said, I mean, I try to do what I can to please my fans, but I also cannot please everybody. That's life. So yeah, I accept. It's okay.
Sure. After the audition and after you became a household name, you made appearances on other talk shows. You made appearances on David Letterman. I'm sure you made an appearance on Ellen. There are other shows that, you made appearances on. And so you're experiencing this sort of fame. And it must have felt like a real rush to, do one show one day, one media appearance the next day. I wonder if in that part of it, where you're being shuttled around to so many different places, if any particular experiences in relation to those shows sticks out in your mind as memorable.
Oh, well, one of the craziest shows that I went on was the Howard Stern, because that was arranged by my record company. That was crazy, because I was very pure and innocent at the time. I was still like a kid. So Howard Stern tried to provoke me by asking me questions that made me uncomfortable. He has his other co-hosts make the sexual songs. It was like very I don't know how to say it. It was very challenging to go through that interview.
Sure, I've talked to people who have been on the Howard Stern show. I'm a huge Howard Stern fan myself, and so I know how that show operates. And right, somebody like you, in contrast to somebody like Howard Stern and his staff, I imagine that was an enormous challenge. When you look back on that particular experience on the Stern show, would you say that they were nice to you? Is that a word that would come to mind, or did you feel belittled as a result of that appearance?
I don't feel either way. I feel that they are just trying to get more views, more ratings. They want to do something that's different. So that's the way I look at it.
Sure. And I also imagine that as somebody who made it onto American Idol and is experiencing all this success as a result of non-traditional talent, that you might have an understanding or an appreciation for doing what gets ratings or doing what people want, kind of being an entertainer in that people-pleasing sort of way.
Yeah.
I just want to go through the list here of other appearances you made. So after American Idol, you appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live. You were on Entertainment Tonight, again, Late Show with David Letterman, Howard Stern Show, Ellen, Dateline, Arrested Development. You were parodied on Saturday Night Live. Let's talk about being parodied. You know, you were parodied on SNL, on Mad TV, I'm sure in so many other forms of entertainment. And that positive mindset that you had at the beginning of this experience when you first auditioned and you had no expectation and you're trying your best, how well did that mindset hold up as you watched people parodying you, making fun of you, discussing you in ways that you might not prefer people discuss you?
I don't have control over that. You know, I just do what I can. For me, I could only control myself.
Oh, of course. No, of course, absolutely. I think I'm more asking about, you know, if I think that I personally have certain ways about myself that somebody could pick on and make fun of, and I might feel insecure about myself. I think that I tend to stutter sometimes. I think that sometimes I tend to not speak clearly or speak very quickly. I have a really large forehead. There are all kinds of things about myself that somebody can make fun of me for. And I just wondered if you seeing people make fun of you made you feel any sort of way, or did that positive mindset really just sort of carry you through?
Well, I if I don't want to interact with that person, I avoid that person. That's it. You know, because life is too short to dwell on the negative.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. And, you know, there are so many inspiring components to this story. And I know that you spend time now as an inspirational speaker, as a motivational speaker. At what point do you realize that this story has the power to inspire other people? When do you decide, or when is it brought to your attention that you could become a motivational speaker, talk about your story, and it can inspire so many people to do so many other things?
Maybe 4 to 5 years ago, because I wanted to continue to make my mark in the world. And I feel that just singing shebangs or other making short videos for fun, I don't think that's enough impact. So I want to also share my story about this whole American Idol journey.
And when you describe your impact on the world, what do you want that impact to be? Like, what effect do you want to have on the world? And was that in mind when you first did the American Idol thing?
No. Oh, no, I wasn't thinking that far ahead.
Sure.
As a 20-year-old kid. But now that I have many years of experience, I would say that I want people to feel they have the power to choose the life they want to create, no matter what that life may be. You know, I've been through different lifestyles, whether it's the entrepreneur, entertainer, office worker, because I did go back to a day job. You know, I've been through many different. I tried many different kinds of life, living style. So I could say that you choose what makes sense for you at the time, and then I don't judge other people. I wish them well. You know, that's where I'm at, because you know, after so many years, I want to go back to a stable job that I enjoy. You know, I don't want to hustle. If I hustle all the time, I burn out. I'm a human being.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the parts of being a celebrity that I think the general public doesn't always understand. You know, again, your success speaks to that idea of the American dream, the overnight sensation, being famous for being yourself. It speaks to all of those things. And I think that it's hard for some people to understand that there comes a point where you might not want that attention anymore. And even the success that comes with receiving that attention isn't worth the lack of privacy, the lack of free time, the lack of stability. Like you said, I imagine it must have felt great to put that part of your life aside and move on to something else, move on to something where there's, where there's a bit more stability. I know that you joined the LA County Sheriff's Office directly after your music career. Describe that transition to me. What made you want to try that? What gave you that interest? And how difficult was it to transition from one lifestyle to the other?
It was definitely challenging at the time, but eventually I adjusted my habits, and then I was able to do it. If you want something in life, you can make it happen. For the most part. Yes, you cannot be the fastest runner. That's not reasonable. You cannot be the richest man on earth or richest woman on earth. I don't think that's a reasonable goal. That's not very obtainable. But besides those kind of crazy goals, most goals are actually very obtainable.
Well, absolutely, especially when it comes to things like self-improvement. When you want to learn a language or try a new job or make changes in yourself in that way. I think that absolutely the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
When you first started working a non-entertainment job after your American Idol success, after that fame, was it difficult for other people to take you seriously? Like, I imagine going for, I don't know, I'm not familiar with the process by which you get a job, with the LA County Sheriffs, but I imagine that there's an interview process. There's some meeting where, you discuss yourself and why you'd be good for this job and your experience, credentials and all that. Are people taking you seriously as you go out there looking for a quote unquote real job?
Yeah. That's why I like about the government job, the system, because it is based on merit. If you can show them that you have the experience and you can do the job really well, you have a great chance to get hired.
That's great. I imagine you must have felt really positively about being welcomed into that world, so easily that people did take you seriously and people did realize that you were more than your persona. You were more than just the guy who sings She Bangs. That must have felt great.
Yeah. Yes. That's the direction I want to go for the rest of my life. I want people to know that I'm more than the She Bangs guy.
Other than the She Bangs guy, how would you describe yourself? What more would you want somebody to know?
I'm still a very passionate gamer. I like video games, board games. I like math. I'm good at computers. I think that's an advantage there. So yeah, I also enjoy speaking and storytelling.
One of the things I love about your passion for speaking is that you still, and I don't know, I hope I don't say this in an insensitive way. I love your accent. And I love that throughout this journey, throughout your journey after the audition and through that bit of fame, and even in this new chapter of your life where you're sort of rebuilding after realizing you have this gambling addiction and realizing that you need help for it, and professionally all the things that you've done, you still have that beautiful accent. And I feel like there are so many ethnic people in entertainment and in media who face that pressure to present themselves in a way that's less ethnic than they really are. And I imagine that for all the things that people might have said about your appearance on American Idol and your fame and your visibility during that time, there must have been a whole other segment of Asian Americans or Asian immigrants who saw you as somebody who became famous in just such a pure, proudly ethnic image. Do you know what I mean? The representation must have been powerful for a certain segment of people. Has anyone ever reached out to you and let you know that and said, it was so great to see somebody who looks like me, who sounds like me, Did that ever come up?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I was born in Hong Kong. English is my second language. Many people, English is their second language. So it's something to embrace. Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. How did you learn English, if you don't mind me asking? I know that some people, when they come to America, they learn it from television. A lot of people that I've talked to learn English and how to spell from game shows, from things like Wheel of Fortune, where you see letters and words and you start to put them together. How did you learn English?
That one. I learned from school. I learned a little bit. I'm not fluent, but in the Hong Kong school system, they do have English classes.
And how often in your day-to-day life do you get to speak your native language?
I speak with Chinese with my parents all the time, almost every day. So I don't think that's much of an issue.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, my family speaks Spanish fluently, so I always grew up hearing Spanish around the house, and I never learned it fluently. I know a lot, but not, again, not fluently. And I've always felt this sort of insecurity about that. I always wish I had learned Spanish, but hearing somebody like you, who again just has that positive mindset, I imagine that you can harness that power, that positivity, and you can inspire anyone to do anything. With that attitude, I mean, you can really get people to change their lives, and you could really inspire them.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I mean, that's what I want. I want to have that impact on people.
I think you do. I think you do have that impact on people, and I think that it maybe took a long time for it to come around in the public eye, but I think that the inspirational aspect of your journey is more celebrated now than it used to be. We're in this era where it's no longer cool to make fun of people on TV. In the early 2000s, reality shows were very mean-spirited, were very nasty, and they were, people were voting other people off and fighting and throwing people under the bus and doing all kinds of not nice things. I think that the nice aspect of your American Idol journey is something that's much more appreciated these days. I wonder if you have any sense of that.
Yes.
In what way do you feel that? Are there still people that reach out to you today? I mean, I reached out to you because I thought you'd be wonderful for this show, but are there other people who reach out to you to this day and want to reminisce about those experiences with you?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean that how often do you get emails these days from people who saw you on American Idol and love you? Or how many pieces of fan mail do you get 20 years after you made that initial appearance?
Oh, well, I don't get fan mails, but I do get more cameos. That cameo is like a fan request to make a short video for them, like a birthday message or sing a few bars of She Bangs, motivate them, have talks. So that's what I get now, and that's also part of my business.
That's wonderful. That's a great way to make to make some income, and again, to change people's lives in that very unique way. I wonder if, in closing, and again, thank you so much, William, for taking the time to talk to me. I wonder what words of advice you might have for somebody listening to this show who wants to appear on a game show, who wants to appear on a reality show, and maybe doesn't have the confidence in their abilities or confidence in themselves to make that jump and to put themselves out there. I wonder what words of advice you'd have for somebody like that.
I would research the game show or the reality show that you want to get on. The audition process, every show is different, but I know it's very competitive, very difficult. So don't take it personally if you don't make it. Even if you feel like you have the talent, you should be on it. Because it cannot control what other people think or how other people feel. that they have to, for example, American Idol, now they have to make a cut, let's say the top 12, top 24, whatever that small number is. You might not be one of those people. It is what it is, and then you try your best, and then you try something else. So that's my suggestion.
Tell Us About Yourself. Conversations with Game Show Contestants is hosted, produced, and edited by me, Christian Carrion, from my studio in beautiful downtown Lancaster City, Pennsylvania. Co-executive producer Cory Anotado. Researcher Chuck Donegan. This has been a production of BuzzerBlog, the most popular game show website in the world, in partnership with the National Archives of Game Show History at the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York. For more information, visit museumofplay.org. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Christian Carrion. Good night. Tell Us About Yourself. Conversations with Game Show Contestants is produced in partnership with the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York, one of the largest history museums in the United States, and one of the leading museums serving families with highly interactive exhibits and programs. Since 1968, the Strong Museum has been dedicated to exploring the ways in which play encourages learning, creativity, and discovery, and how it illuminates cultural history. And their National Archives of Game Show History. Founded by industry veterans Bob Bowden and Howard Blumenthal, the archive is home to thousands of artifacts representing over 80 years of broadcasting, including props, set designs, video interviews with game show professionals, and other iconic elements from the history of television at play. For more information about the National Archives of Game Show History or the Strong National Museum of Play, visit museumofplay.org or call area code 585-263-2700. Tell Us About Yourself is sponsored by bonusround.ca, streaming Canada's classic game shows on demand. Dive into the golden age of television with thousands of episodes of Canadian series that defined an era from anywhere in the world, all for just $1.99 a month. From iconic shows like Let's Make a Deal and Definition to cult classics like Bumper Stumpers and The Mad Dash, bonusround.ca brings you timeless entertainment that's fun, enlightening, and affordable. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, relive the magic of Canadian television history. Subscribe now at bonusround.ca for $1.99 and turn every night into game show night. And by The Inn at Leola Village. Nestled in the heart of picturesque Pennsylvania, the Inn at Leola Village is a sanctuary of luxury and relaxation. Indulge in the timeless beauty of their historic suites, each meticulously designed to transport you to a bygone era of elegance and grace. Experience the culinary delights of their award-winning Italian restaurant, where every dish is a masterpiece crafted from the finest local ingredients. From romantic getaways to corporate retreats, the Inn at Leola Village offers a haven for every occasion. Unwind at the spa, stroll through the lush gardens, and let the stress of everyday life melt away. Make your reservation today at theinnatleolavillage.com or call the front desk at area code 717-656-7002. The Inn at Leola Village, an oasis of luxury.
I was thinking about where our country went wrong. There's a few instances, sure. Well, the one that stands out to me was when in 2003, William Hung auditioned for American Idol. 28 million American viewers laughed at an immigrant man doing his best. There was nothing wrong with him. I looked it up, but you saw... You saw the footage. It very well could have been. And still, we laughed. It might be too far to say that because of that, we deserve the situation we're in. But maybe if we were a little nicer, the Sopranos movie would have been better.